1979 from the Smashing Pumpkins, and it's definitely not 1979. You knew that was coming. It is a Tuesday morning, halfway through the month of July. Mike Barrett joins us for another installment of Good Policies. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. A week off. I hope everything went well last week for you.
It did. We fared okay, but a lot of people didn't. And, this is just getting to be a broken record, this flooding thing. I mean, we were so fortunate where I live, but there were so many unfortunate people out there. Once again, Mike, this flooding thing, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's these rains are coming in fast and furious and dumping an incredible amount of rain in a very short amount of time. And the land can't take it. And I tell you, I mean, I was not around, but I certainly was tuned in to the devastation. Certainly some of the families have been involved with those storms, and I'm just heartbroken for them. People who may have gotten through the past 2 Julys and felt that they fared pretty well. It reminds us that just because it didn't happen to you this time, it could happen to you next time. And that holds true for all of us. It really does.
Yesterday we had a significant rain event, and I haven't heard of any flooding, but there's something that I don't think a lot of people understand. I mean, unless those that have been through it here, of course, the last 3 years. When a significant rain event comes in a very short period of time, like you mentioned,
sure,
right? So I live at the bottom of the height of the land on 114.
Yeah.
So if they get a torrential downpour up there, or even in our neck of the woods, and then it stops, you think you're okay.
Right.
But all of a sudden,
a
here
deluge.
comes. That's right.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of a delay. There is. You don't want to just let your guard down. But again, we sound like a broken record, but we got to talk about your insurance coverage for any reason.
Right. And let's think about it, Jeff. A lot of these flooding events are not happening. I mean, they are, but they're happening from the rivers, but really as those small babbling brooks that are really nothing you think about very often, those little streams that go through the hillsides, those are the ones that are getting so adversely impacted and causing just an incredible amount of damage. And the hardest part, and I say this because when I saw the photos, yes, I saw a house certainly impacted, a number of houses impacted, but a lot of what was damaged was land. And that's the most heartbreaking part, right? Because there's really no way to insure that. Insurance insures property, physical property, not land. So all the washouts of the driveways, the culverts going, the mudslides, all of those things, really not something you can insure for land. I saw somebody whose foundation basically was just taken away. The thing with that is if they had flood insurance, it's highly likely that would have been covered because it does. And I'm speaking just off the theoretical here because it does sound like enough land was impacted in that damage, which with the National Flood Insurance Program, it's 2 acres or more or 2 or more neighbors being impacted. And it sounds like it was plenty of land that was impacted there. But, it's one of those things where even with my home, I have not once been impacted with flood in these past 3 Julys. I can't believe I'm saying 3 Julys. But that's a real thought that I have to have. Like, should I consider adding another layer of protection? Even if, a lot of people go, well, I don't ever need it. Well, let me throw this out. You don't ever need fire insurance then, because if you have no plans to have a fire and you have no plans to have a flood, then you don't need any of it. So it's for the what ifs. So I think to be prudent, I think it's a good idea to look into it. At least look into it. If you find that it's cost preventative, at least you looked into it. But you may find it's not a bad price in your situation.
Well, you mentioned before, and I'm going to use you didn't plan for it, right? Well, they're called accidents for a reason, because if you had planned for it, it would have been an on purpose, right?
Exactly. That's my wife's line all the time. Because whenever you get into an accident or have something happen, people are in that state of shock and they're upset. And we remind them, look, this is not an on purpose. This is an accident. We'll get through it together. But my heart goes out to everybody impacted. But I hope that as we continue to see this July trend, and I really do not want to say a 4th July. I really do not. But in my heart of hearts, I feel like this is something that's going to continue for a while. So I really hope that people just kind of take pause and look around and see how they can try to mitigate their exposure, look at the possibility of adding a flood insurance policy if necessary, but at least weighing your options and not just assuming it won't happen to you, because that's obviously proving that it's not going to work out for everybody.
Yeah, and it is kind of a bummer that the property itself that your investment sits on isn't covered. But if you don't mind me here, I just want to share. You heard me mention this earlier this morning, and talk about timely JPC card. I mean, they've been
This
busy.
is awesome. I've heard you talking about this.
Yeah, they busy to beat the band here, folks. If you've been impacted by the recent flooding out there, Kingdom Gravel and Aggregate is offering free what they call overburden fill, which just means it's a mix of aggregate, so it can't be used for this use or that use, but it can be used to repair the roadways. So they're offering it up free from any three of their pits. But there may be a trucking charge, but I mean that's a heck of a lot less of an expense, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know folks in Waterford along Simpson Brook Road, the amount of money that they've had to spend over the years with the washouts that they've had. This type of offer from JPC Card is amazing. It'll go a long way to helping those who need it most, especially when we talk about land not being covered. It's a nice way for you to get some kind of a little bit of a reprieve from the expense of it all.
Okay, now we've got just a little bit of time left here. I just want to ask you a question so you can provide some information out there. There's a lot of folks that now have moved out of mom and dad's house and they don't have their own house and they've got a rental. Rental insurance is very important, especially in a time like this as well, right?
Right. And with rental insurance, we call it, it's also called the homeowner policy. A lot of people get confused, but it's a homeowner policy without coverages A and B. Coverage A being a house, coverage B being other structures. So you're starting at the C, which is personal property. So renter's insurance, great to have. And not a lot of folks know this. You can get renter's flood insurance to protect your contents. And I will say 2 Julys ago, we had a number of folks who were really flooded out pretty badly and didn't have it. So look at that too. You don't need to have a huge amount, but maybe $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 worth of contents coverage for the peril of flood if you're in a high risk area. I would look at the pricing on that. You might be surprised.
Well, my dad always told me the stupidest question is the one you never ask. So if somebody has a question, how can they reach out to you?
So simple. Give us a call, 748-5224. You can find our office on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com. We're also on Google, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Just look for Barrett Insurance Agency.
All right. You guys stay safe. We'll see you in a week.
Absolutely. You too.
All right. Good policies with Magic in the Morning Tuesdays and music from Adele coming up.